I had ridden the bus in and was reading the Willamette Week on my way in and read this article about adult trapeze classes, and there was an interview with this gentleman and a picture of him, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I got to the McCoy building and I got on the elevator, and standing in the elevator was the man whose picture had been in the paper. And I think I said something very eloquent like, hey, you're in the picture, you do the adult trapeze classes. And he said yes, and that was the first time that I met Gary Oxman.
My wife and I got this flyer in the mail, Learn to Fly adult trapeze classes. And we went, oh, that sounds sort of interesting. Do Jump taught me that public health is performance art. There are these show moments that happen, and that those show moments are really incredibly influential on the rest of the process. So at times you just got to get yourself up for the performance, and you got to plan for it and rehearse for it, and then you just have to go through and do it with relaxation and elegance, and then it has an amazing effect when you do that.
Gary Oxman is probably the best health officer in the entire country, and that's because he's got a number of the ingredients that just make him successful. He's smart, he's a critical thinker, he's compassionate, he cares about people, and he's just a hell of a nice guy.
My dad was a psychologist. My mom trained as a speech pathologist, speech therapist. I think the other thing that was really strong in our household was there was a real commitment in the Jewish community to social justice in the 60s. We were just 20 years away from the Holocaust. We knew what could happen to people. We knew what genocide was all about. And so Jews were very involved in social justice, and there was a lot of shared leadership between the Jewish community and the African American community, and a lot of cooperation.
At one point, he dropped out of college to work for George McGovern for president. And he met his wife, Kate, at a political caucus.
There were a few quirky things about him that really attracted me to him. We were married in a French wine bar in Old Town. I just couldn't see myself in a big fancy white dress. So we decided that I would wear a white tuxedo and he would wear a black one. We also decided to make our wedding cakes. And for some reason, Gary put a dinosaur on top of one of them, and I don't really know what that was all about. I think Gary's evolution from family physician to public health, I think it was maybe his frustration with the delivery system, and I think he really felt he could be more effective in a more of a policy sort of public health role, and it suited him much better. I'd say he's loved nearly every minute of it. He is a person who loves his work.
I also know Gary through our band, Homebrew, and I have the opportunity to play music with Gary. I've done so for over 10 years now, and Gary's a great musician, plays bass, guitar, and the thing that people in healthcare and government don't know is that the straight and narrow, critical thinking side of Gary is very different as a band member. He's got funk.
The sound we're seeking is glorious. I listen to them play sometimes and I just start laughing. It's so good. It's just like, oh my God, this is so cool to get to be a part of this.
His career is so serious. I think he needs those outlets, and maybe he looks for those outlets, and that helps bring him out of his head.
It takes a lot of hard work to get this stuff done. The real downside of this for me is that, I look back on my career and I look on the fact that my sons are 24 and 27, and I missed a hell of a lot of their lives growing up because I was working. And that's a great regret of my life.
I think he was pretty much driven by just trying to make things better for people. I think he has a very strong sense of trying to help people.
I'm envisioning Gary, January 31st in his garage with the motorcycle, tinkering around with that same level of zen that he would approach, the precautionary principle with the Water Bureau. I mean, just applying that same level of detail and care to something that he also loves. I mean, he loves public health. But the motorcycle is to my knowledge, fairly mythical. He claims it exists. I'm hoping to see a Facebook page pop up with him taking a cross-country trip and on a beautiful motorcycle, but we'll see.
Baby, can you find